Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to start on page 284, creating and linking a site to our project. I'm going to go ahead and open up the project. I'm going to go ahead and get that from the folder. I know yours is called Chapter 7, mine is called Chapter 6. It's the same object, so go ahead and open that up and let it go ahead and upgrade the model. So this particular model is the one the book gave us. It has the topography has been removed, and what we're going to do is add a new file to our system, and that new file is going to contain the topography, and then we'll link those two files. So that looks like this. We're going to go ahead and say File. I'm going to say New. It's going to be an architectural project. Once that opens, we're going to link in a AutoCAD file that contains topography information. So we got to go through and make sure that this all works correctly. The way this works is we start with the site view of the work, and we can see there's these two little icons here, and you may not notice those are two different things. There's one that's triangular and one that's circular. We're going to talk a lot about that here as we go through this lesson. And what I'm going to do is come to the Insert tab. I want to link a CAD file, and I'm going to get this one called Commercial Site. It looks like this. I need to look down here at these settings. The book describes exactly how all these settings need to be and what they do, and I'm just going to, I've already got mine set up. You can check yours, and then I click Open, and what that does is it brings in an AutoCAD file into our work. So if I zoom out, I can see there's the AutoCAD file. Now pay attention to a couple of things. First of all, we can see there's a blue outline that's the same shape as our building. That's where the building's going to belong. Second of all, we can see north is straight up, even though this blue outline is at an angle. And then finally, the file, you'll notice, has those icons that I was mentioning before. This is the base point and the survey point are right at the corner of this AutoCAD file. And in AutoCAD, that would be our 0, 0 point. And then the file would be drawn based on that. And these two came in this way because of the way that that insertion, that set of options in the insertion dialog box worked. Please read about all of that on page 285 and 286. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to look at this from the side view. So if we look at from the south elevation, what we'll notice is we've got this kind of peculiar cloud shape up here. What that is in our plan is all of the topography lines, and these topography lines actually exist in 3D. And so if you're working from AutoCAD, that's an important feature, is that the topography lines themselves are in the right vertical elevation. And so if I look at this in our 3D view and spin this around, you can see there's all those topography lines, and then there's our work down below it. Okay, these two shapes over here, this is our levels from Revit, and then everything else on the screen is straight out of AutoCAD. And so we can see that some of those objects are flat, and the topography is up at the top, and it's actually at the correct elevation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this view to be a shaded view. And the reason is because I want to demonstrate that there's currently no surface. I feel sort of like the magician that says, look carefully up my sleeve, I've got nothing up my sleeves. There's no surface there now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a surface out of those lines. Go to the Massing and Site tab, Topo Surface, and we're going to create from Import. And we're going to select an import instance. Well, we've only got one thing on our screen, so that's pretty easy to select. Now what it's going to do is it's going to read the line work that's in the AutoCAD file to create this, and we don't need most of this. We don't need. So I'm going to say check none. We only need to get the ones that are called Site Contour and Site Contour Interims, and I click OK. Now when I do that, you notice there's the surface, and what it's done is it's read little points down the whole length of those topography lines, and then created a topo surface based on all those little points. And last time we created this topo surface by clicking points ourselves. This one's actually reading the lines to make the points. So pretty nice little trick. we're done with this surface. Okay, and then what we have to do is we want to create a couple of more things with this. So let's, first of all, we want to build a building pad in this surface. And so we've got shaded turned on now. What I'm going to do is switch it back to be a wireframe, and I'm going to go back to my first my site plan view, because what I want to do, I need to make this view my wireframe. And that allows me to see through that surface. So I have a surface, it's there, but the surface is transparent when I would use the wireframe. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is create what's called a building pad. And so this is a level area of the site, and we can create this using the lines that are already drawn in the AutoCAD file. So I'm going to say building pad. I'm going to say select lines, and I'm going to hover and tab to select those objects and click. Now when I do that, I need to tell it, I don't need to lock these lines, but I do need to tell it where this works. And so what I need to do is I need to say this is going to be at level 2, and it's going to be height offset of -4 feet. And when I click apply, it will draw a surface at those locations. I'm going to say okay, done. So let's take a look at this. I know I made a mistake. Let me see if you guys can see what happened. Let me turn this back to shaded, and we can see what's going on. So we have our site. There's our building pad. But if we look at this, wow, that's a very deep building pad, right? And so what I need to do is I need to make some adjustments. I didn't do this first. I need to do it now. We've got level 2 and level 1. Let's go to a elevation view so we can see those a little better. I've got level 2 and level 1. And what I need to do is I need to change the name of these. Level 1 is going to, instead of level 1, we're going to call it datum. So that relates us back to the site information. We can say yes to this. That relates us back to the site information, which is related back to a station point, which a surveyor has set up, and that relates back to global mean sea level. So our datum at 0 means like sea level. And then level 2, I'm going to change it to be called street level. And the book doesn't do this, but I'm going to add a little subtext to this. I'm going to say street level site topo, so that we can keep it straight. So street level topo, and yes, we can rename those. It doesn't matter. We're not going to use this drawing for anything. Now currently that's 10 feet, and our pad is set 4 feet below this. So what we need to do is we need to look back on our site plan view. We need to look at this and interpolate where is this building pad supposed to be. And we can see 81 feet, 80.7 feet, 80 feet is out here. Really, we're going to choose 81 feet for the height of our building at the grade at 81 feet. So come on back to south elevation. We're going to change this one right here to say 81 feet. Okay, so that rockets that up, and guess what? Our building pad moved up with it. So now our building pad is 4 feet below the soil height, not 100 feet down there or whatever it was, 80 feet down there, right? And so that gives us a place there for that to live. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this project, and I need to name it Commercial Site Plan. Okay, and so that's what I'm going to call it. Commercial site. Now the location of this drawing is significant. When I did that file save, I said file save as project, and I called it commercial site, I need to know where this file is. Okay, so you need to make a folder and keep this in the same place, because we're getting ready to link two files, and it's going to go back and it's going to look for this specific title of drawing in this specific location each time. And if we move things around, that link will be broken. Okay, so I really probably ought to just make a new folder on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you don't want to use your desktop, you can use some other location. I use my desktop because it's easier for me. But I'm going to go ahead and say new folder, and I'm going to call this one commercial. If you already have a file for your, already have a folder for your commercial files, then you can use that one. And I'm going to save this in that location. Okay, now from this point forward, I can close the site plan. I actually need it closed to be able to do the exercise. So I'm going to close all my other windows, and then I'm going to close my site plan. Right at the beginning, I opened up my commercial work, and it's still open. So if you closed yours, go ahead and open up your commercial project now.